You were great already. You just have to get back to believing how great you are. You ever look back at certain points in your life and you kind of like, yo, I remember when I was super confident in this moment. I remember when I was, working in this area and, I just did it. I didn't think about it. I didn't have no anxiety. I didn't feel insecure in certain areas. I didn't second guess myself. You have to get back to that person. The only reason you fell out of thinking that way is because one, you probably surrounded yourself with people who made you believe you were something that you weren't. Two, you got to take accountability. You allowed individuals to make you feel some type of way. You allowed situations to minimize who you are as a person, but your greatness is on the inside of you. You feel what I'm saying? You got to fall in love with who you are, not who you think you are. See, this is the thing. God has created us all to be a specific way. God has created you to be a specific way. But we go out in the world, you feel what I'm saying? And Nipsey Hussle talked about this in a different way, but same perspective, tomato, tomato. He talked about how, we go out into the world after we already have our passion, but we go out into the world and then we get influenced by the world and then we operate a certain way. That's why certain people become gang members. Well, a lot of people become gang members because they're so insecure and maybe they don't have a father figure around. Maybe they come from a dysfunctional family. Maybe they aren't self-aware of the dysfunction that they're dealing with in their family. So the only thing they can do is seek validation outside of themselves because they didn't get the validation from their family. Now, a lot of people come from dysfunctional families, but not everybody takes that serious of a route in order for them to go get in a gang. Some people have these same issues, but they might do it through social media. They might seek validation through the people that are around them. You feel what I'm saying? But you don't need validation outside of yourself. And I know it's hard not to feel like you need validation because of the way society is set up, the way everybody wants to become a movie star, a rapper. I fell victim to it too. But in reality, you got to validate yourself. What do you truly enjoy? Who are you? That was my point with the Nipsey Hussle point. He said we get influenced by people that are outside of ourselves. God created you to be a certain way. God didn't create you to create a specific, way of being. Like he didn't create you to look at this and be like, oh, I'm going to be dang, I forgot what this is. An interface. You feel what I'm saying? That is essentially what we are doing when you say, oh, I want to be a rapper. Or, oh, I want to be an actor. Now, that's okay if that is who you truly are on the inside. You feel what I'm saying? But you are created to do a certain thing, be a certain way. God created you specifically for a reason. So you have to figure out who he created you to be specifically. Not who you just decide I am now because of the validation I want to seek. Because the version of you that is seeking validation and trying to prove something is not really your authentic self. It is actually you creating a fabricated version of yourself in order to feel like you finally get that validation. Like finally, oh, I'm gonna become this person that seeks validation, and then everybody's gonna finally praise me. And I was there too, trust and believe, until I start finding God, till I start going through my spiritual awakening, till I start working on myself. Then I start realizing like, dang, I wanted to do this, X, Y, and Z. You feel what I'm saying? But in reality, that's not really what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? That's not really how I wanted to operate. In reality, I was seeking to fill a certain void. But that void will never be filled with you seeking validation or trying to figure out who you are outside of your authentic self. Your true authentic self. not the version of you that you created based off of the fact that you didn't get validation in your younger days. So in life, you gotta lose before you can win. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta fall down before you can get up. You can't just nobody just comes out here. I think that's why a lot of the rich kids that they're born into rich families and they don't have too much struggle, and then they end up offing themselves, unaliving themselves, because it's like, you know what I'm saying, they start hanging around their friends that's from the neighborhood or from the block, or they start listening to rap music or whatever the case may be. And although we have tough lives coming from certain areas, urban communities, they like, dang, they have a sense of purpose. They can actually listen to the music and relate to some of the stuff in it. I was just born into wealth. Nobody rapping about, yeah, my dad had money. You see, even that football player, his son was from a gated community, and what did he do? He became a street rapper, talking about he from the block and stuff like that. And his dad called him out because everybody wants to be from the bottom on visually. You know what I'm saying? Because it still goes back to that validation that you didn't get. Who knows? His dad might have had all the money in the world, but when it comes to taking care of his kid, he probably was disconnected from being around his kid. So now his kid is in a sense the same way. The only thing is it's probably worse because he don't have nobody to relate to. And now everybody's calling him a fraud because he's not really from that, but he's claiming that. But he still has that same void that the kids from the urban community have, that same void of, my dad wasn't really in my life or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, this is something that you have to go through, you have to work through, you have to, realize yourself, or you'll just go throughout your whole life and just be like, oh my God, seeking after a certain level of acceptance or validation, when in reality, you got to find that within yourself. But first, you have to find out who you truly are, who God created you to be. Not the person that you have created in order to seek validation in the world to eventually get the praise that you never got as a child. Because then you'll live a miserable, depressed, anxiety filled, non authentic life. So, like I said, it's not easy. It's a lot of work you got to do, whether you got to go to therapy, whether you got to work on yourself, whatever the case may be. So, I feel like the goal and the thing to take from this video is try to sit with yourself and determine like 5 things that you feel like is attached to your authentic self. Like, what do you truly like to do internally? Not what you like to do to look this way, or not what you like to do because you got 10 likes on social media, or because that aunt or that uncle or that mom or that dad gives you validation in this moment for doing that because they trying to make you a people pleaser or whatever the case may be, in order for you to be like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, who are you authentically? You feel me? Who are you as a person? And I think that's probably the goal that everybody's trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying? But they don't even realize that, like, subconsciously people are trying to chase this certain level of validation. And like I said, it's nothing wrong with seeking validation. They say, oh, don't seek validation, don't seek validation. You shouldn't seek external validation. Now, if you are doing these specific things, such as becoming a rapper, actor, or whatever the case may be, and that is truly who you are internally, then chase that dream, you feel me? If God created you to be that specific thing, then chase that dream and do everything it takes in order to, reach that path or reach that level. But if not, then you're just wasting your time. And you're not really filling the void. Because the void is only filled with your authentic self. and with self-validation. But if you're seeking outside of yourself, then you will never be fulfilled. But I can't give you tips on how to fill your own specific void, because you got to learn who you are as a person and to determine that. Because we all different. And what I always say, I'm different, you different, we different. It's your boy Josh Different. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff.